subscribe to the Donnie Houston podcast, man. Yeah, man, it's going down. It's Donnie Houston podcast. I am Donnie Houston. Check it out, man. We got a real special guest, man. I'm talking about, man. This is a UGK family. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
It's the 30th, anniversary of UGK, so it's only right. You know what I'm saying? That we got him coming through, man. To chop it up, man. This is Bobo Luchiano. What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy?
How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm feeling beautiful. Thanks for having me, man.
Already,
It's an
man.
honor to be here.
Man, it's an honor that this is what's crazy about the podcast. As I was thinking this, it's like, man, there's so many people that I've heard about over my life, and then especially when you get to the UGK, the Pimp C thing, after the book, and
Yeah.
just a lot of those stories. It was certain people that I was like, man, I got to meet this person. I got to meet that. I said, man, I got to meet Bobo, which I've been wanting. You know what I'm saying? Since my man Bobo just lost his baby in the house.
Yeah.
You know that always stuck with me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
From a long time ago as a kid hearing the song, and then to be able to hear the book, read the book or whatever, and see those things and that, and I was just like, oh yeah, I got to meet Bobo. So to have you here, you know what I'm saying, it's an honor, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure. What's going down, man?
Oh, man.
What?
I'm in A-Style.
Yeah.
I'm at the Donnie Houston show. You know what I'm talking about? This is my second home.
Yeah.
My mom's from Houston.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm a strange bird, so I'll be probably one of the only ones you can say from Dallas. I ain't going to say the only one. The only one I know that came up in Houston and Dallas.
Hmm.
So
your whole life you've been back and forth.
Yeah, yeah. My mom's from Third Ward, and so I was what you call a Greyhound baby. You know what that is?
On that bus and going. Yeah.
Yeah, my mama put me on that bus with a thing of chicken and some light bread, and my Aunt Virgie or my Aunt Doris would be down here waiting on me to pick me up at the bus stop, and I came up off of Scott Street on a street called Noah. Well, my mom then came up off of Live Oak on a street called Berry.
Yeah. Okay.
She could walk to Jack Yates.
Wait. So are you going to school out here at any time, or you just on the visiting
The
side?
summers. The summers. I had to spend my summers up here. So, a lot of summers. And this is where I got a lot of my blackness from. I'm going to be honest. Because where I came from, my mom and them was real strict. They came up, real Christian household. My dad and his family, I might have about 4 or 5 pastors in my family. So, it was kind of, and me being on this side of the family, I was the youngest grandchild, youngest one in my family. So I was kind of like, just always sucking up everything, you know what I mean? And I can remember coming down here in the summers, and I have a cousin, Charles, we call him Charles Jr. His name is Charles Young, and he would, man, the Richard Pryors, the Mays, Frankie Beverly and Mays, because I can remember, every time I came to Houston, it seemed like Mays was coming to town. And I don't remember that like that in Dallas until probably the 80s. But all during the 70s, Frankie Beverly and Mays act like they lived in Houston.
So this through your family, this your introduction to black music.
Oh my God, yeah, man. The Frankie Beverly and Mays, the Parliament Funkadelics, everything that, Isley Brothers, because I didn't hang with my sisters when I was young. So I didn't have and my dad worked 2 jobs, so he was hardly ever at home. So I gravitated coming down here to Houston, being around another male, you know what I mean? So he was like my big brother. So yeah, he gave me the game.
Yeah.
He gave me the game. I remember coming down here. Magic 102 was the big station at that time, and the Rhinestone Cowboy. You remember that?
I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, Rhinestone Cowboys, R.P. Cola, my boy, rest in peace, Rick. From Raw Flush. Yeah, I remember all that. I had all those records.
Man, okay. So are you trying to rap at this time, or you just enjoying it?
No, I'm a kid, bro. I'm a kid. Well, I always was into the music. I came from the DJ side of things, so I was, DJing parties all through Dallas and everything like that, and had my own radio show and that type of thing for 8.5 years. But yeah, I just fell into the rap thing. But I've always, come on, since hell, Rapper's Delight.
Hmm.
It grabbed me,
Hmm.
and especially when once the message came out, I was done. So it's hip hop, and then I came down here to Houston, and the culture is just so thick, with African Americans and y'all Black Chamber of Commerce is a lot bigger than what we have in Dallas. When I was coming up, y'all have Cornell X. We got our boy John Wiley Price. We have some similarities, but I like Houston for the blue collar of it.
Hmm.
I like it, man. Love it.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah.
This has always been my second home, and Port Arthur's my third. So you know, Dallas, Houston, Port Arthur.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's my homes right there.
Yeah. So tell me, man, how do you even start kind of crossing up, as early with like UGK, you know what I'm saying, with that whole thing?
Well, we had gotten in. We were like the clique I was in Dallas. My older brother DJ Snake. I don't know if you're familiar with a group called Nemesis.
I heard of him.
Nemesis was the first group out of Dallas to sign to a major label, and he produced Nemesis, and he produced the trendsetter Run C. I don't know if you.
I heard around. So
Yeah, Run C, and so he had two labels. I mean, two acts on a major label, and we were doing our thing through Dallas, and we were touring with the Ghetto Boys. Early on, I remember them showing up in the jalopies all through, Austin, the San Antonios, just all over Texas, bro. We would, Big Chief and our manager Rich Mac, they was kind of tight. So every time they had a show, they call us and vice versa. So that's how I got started. And then I became Ron C's hype man, being on tour with who was that? Too Shorty the Pimp tour. Ron did 2 years in the pen. He got caught up, at an early age, around 18, got 20-year sentence,
Mm.
and that was right before his first album came out. And once we did, we Snake and I helped him promote that first album pretty. Because he wasn't here, no videos or anything like that. But when he returned home, oh, it was a movement almost like when Pimp C came on.
Hmm.
It was.
You schooling me now in Dallas hip hop because I ain't never had nobody to come on here and really break this whole
Oh
thing down.
yeah,
So.
yeah. Ron C.
So he was the first one out of Dallas to really kind of, even though Nemesis had the deal, you would say Ron C
Ron was more the street rapper.
Okay.
He was talking about pimping and talking about the street life and things like that. And Nemesis was talking about street life, but more on the positive tip. We were hip hop heads. You know what I mean? They were in the African pieces back then and everything like that, way before people were in jewelry. And so Ron C was a little bit more flashier. He was the first person in Dallas to roll Dayton's. He's actually from California. So when he came down from California, he came down with a lot of culture from California that we didn't have. And he grew up here. I think went to high school in Dallas and got hooked up with a serious organization in Dallas and ended up doing 2 years on a 20-year sentence. But once that album came back out, it was a full go. Once he got out of jail and that Back on the Streets album came out, I want to shout out to Ron C. Matter of fact, that's my brother. He, yeah.
Now he's on, and you're his hype man.
I was his hype man, and then we were on tour with Shorty the Pimp, and we're killing it.
How is this going with y'all on Too Short tour? I mean, come on, man.
And that was strange because, see, you got to realize, man, back at the end, there wasn't that many rappers around, and you could pretty much all the rappers they knew about each other. It's not like today's times. Ron was from California. I think he's from Richmond, and they talk real proper grammar out there. And so, when he rapped in the beginning, a lot of people kind of compared him to Short, and Short heard about it, and Short had a choice whether or not to put us on that tour or not. But he put us on that tour. It was the headliners were Too Short and Spice, and then Ron C. Yeah, and then every city we went to, it was a different lineup, but it was us three on the main, going to every city.
Man, what do you remember about that? Because it just sounds crazy. You talking about Short, Spice?
Oh, bro, it was it was a great tour. I remember it was more, hip hop was a a showman craft back then. Stage shows had to be more than just walking around and doing that. You had to, your DJ had to do some type of tricks or something.
And everybody had it was about originality.
Yeah,
Everybody
you
had
had to.
their own
Oh
thing. Yeah,
yeah, that was the main thing about then. You couldn't bite nobody. You couldn't shit. You couldn't sound like nobody. That was the thing, and everybody was distinct. You could tell everybody apart from everybody, and that's why it was kind of a different thing. He wasn't rapping like Short. He just had a voice. I mean, his voice sounded kind of like Too Short when he rapped, and so when he talked about pimping on a couple songs, so there you have it, so yeah, and then we how was it was wild. I can remember when we practiced and got our whole stage show together. Our whole theme was like this prison thing. He just got out of the pen. The album is labeled Back on the Street. He's got on his Grogans, his blue Dickies, and his light blue Dickie shirt like he's an inmate. And in Dallas, our which I got Harris County down here. We got our main one is called Lou Sterrett. That's our county jail. And in Lou Sterrett back then, you had two colors you could wear. White was all the regular inmates, and the crazy inmates wore their bright orange. So that was my uniform. I had the bright orange, with the prison number on it. I was bald back then. I had this wig afro, and I had this real gas chainsaw. And so going to that first show, we thought, okay, we had practiced. They told us we was gonna have 15 minutes. Well, when we got there, man, oh my God, they had added probably about 6 acts. I mean, Second to None, DJ Quick, In Too Deep. It's a hip hop marathon out there. So they said, okay, y'all got 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. We look at each other. What the fuck we gonna do? That's one song back then. 4 to 5 minutes was song. I said, all right, bro. And so we had it to where he was coming out, and I was going to come out with that chainsaw at a certain time. I said, well, bro, as soon as that hook start on that first song, I'm coming out. And when I did that shit, the crowd went berserk. And so much to the point to where once we got to the next city, everybody was talking about our stage show, and they bumped us up to where we were closer. I said bumped us back to where we were closer to the headline. So yeah, and then I guess probably our 4th or 5th show we did Houston, we did Arkansas, Atlanta, we did a bunch of shows. We was in Lafayette, Louisiana at the Cajun Dome. And we in this big dressing room, and the concert promoter is acting real shitty with the money. Cajun Dome was packed to the capacity,
Ain't no reason to be acting.
Yeah, I mean, manager went in the office, he's got money stacked up, but he don't want to pay. So we sitting there. I mean, everybody's not dressed real Spice. Shout out to my boy G Nut. That was Spice's hype man, and Shorts in there. A couple more people, and then Chad and Bun walk in. That was the introduction. I'll show you a picture from that night. Blow your mind. Yeah, and so I befriended Bun in the beginning. We coming to Dallas. We just signed the Jive. We gonna finish. This album, and we're recording our next album in Dallas. Studio called the Sound Lab. I said, okay, no problem. And so when they got there, they called me, they called Ron. I show up. We was before blunts. We was rolling joints. So I go out there with a bunch of weed. We rolling joints, smoking, and next day, what you doing? Come to the studio. So it just became then we get to riding around Dallas. We just kicked it, man. And from then, we just became brothers. And he offered me a job.
Donnie Houston.